Wisconsin's archery season is wrapping up tomorrow, January 31st, 2022. Now that is the extended hunt that Wisconsin offers here. There's different counties that are included in that zone, and then some other counties had ended the first week in January. Alright, today's video is going to be on my final thoughts of the Ravin R26. Shot this crossbow, all of archery 2021 and then going to 2022. Previously to that, I was shooting a Mathews V3 and then a Mathews VXR, Mathews Verdicts, etc. I tend to get a bow every year just because I like to try new things. But technically last year I injured my shoulder, so I couldn't pull my compound bow back. So I decided to sell that on Archery Talk, and I picked up the Ravin R26. For those who don't know about the Ravin R26, it is their smallest compact crossbow. As you can tell by the name, 26. It is 26 inches from the butt all the way to the front stirrup area here. Weighs in at 6.5 pounds. The axle between the axles here uncocked is 9.25 inches, and when it's fully cocked it is at 5.75 inches. That's relatively pretty small. Now let's talk about some cons about this crossbow. One con is when you load a bolt and it's fully seated, it does stick past the stirrup area here 2.5 inches or so. So that's something to keep in mind if you are a ground blind hunter and you like to set this on the ground. This will poke into the ground. Now I've seen some stirrups that are made. Basically unscrew these two screws here and the stirrup will sit in place and it'll extend past the front area here, and it'll give you some room to set your crossbow into the ground. Another con I can think about is that this crossbow is relatively pretty loud. A lot of crossbows are loud, but this is pretty loud in general. I'm guessing because of how compact it is and how much power it actually generates. But all my shots this year were well within 20 yards. So all the deer that I've shot this year didn't even know that the bolt was going to hit them. And all of them did not run more than 20 yards. Alright, I brought you guys in just a little closer so you guys can see. But another con that I've noticed is that these strings and cables, they do wear out super fast. Then again, you have to realize that this is not a crossbow that you would go out and plink all day with. Just set it and go hunt with it. One of the big issues, as you guys can see right here, this center serving right here, it basically wears out super fast. This set of strings and cables I've had since the beginning of September. It's done relatively pretty well for wear and tear, but that center serving you gotta keep an eye on. That is one of the cons, is that it does wear out really fast. Just make sure that it doesn't separate on you. If it does, you're unfortunately going to have to either get it reserved. The only downfall about that is that you got to take the string off, send it in and get it reserved, or if your local archery shop will reserve it for you. Now there's a lot of controversy behind that on why you should not reserve, but that's a whole nother topic. If you don't want to reserve it, you can order a new set of strings and cables either from Ravin. Then again, it's going to be up to you if you want to go that route or go with an aftermarket set. Now, if you plan to go aftermarket strings and cables and you are the original owner, it will void your warranty. Now, I've seen a lot of people online saying that, oh, you just keep your old set of strings, and if it does break, send it into Ravin. You'll never know that you put a new set of strings and cables on there. But do what you want to do. If they find out and it comes back to you not putting their original strings and cables onto their crossbow, and there's a malfunction somehow due to you putting different strings and cables on there, which, knock on wood, I have not seen yet, that's going to be on you. But then again, people wouldn't have to do that if Ravin made some better strings and cables, because honestly, I've heard about these blowing up, strings breaking, limbs breaking, and all that not fun good stuff. Another con, I don't know if it was just mine that it happened at, but this little button back here, sometimes it doesn't want to push in even when I try to release the track system. Now that's only happened to me like 3 times I believe this year, but then again, that's 3 times that it should not have happened. Didn't bug me as much, so I didn't send it in because I didn't want to be out a crossbow for the season, because this is the only one I have. Those are the only cons that I can think of, honestly, of this crossbow. This has served me well. Alright, now let's get into some pros about this crossbow, as I've owned it for almost half a year. So I do like the compactness of it. It is pretty small, as you guys can see. It can fit in the whole frame here of my camera. Again, 26 inches from the butt to the front. A lot of people are probably going to hate me for this, but I do like the scope. It is a pretty simple design. If you guys don't know how to sight this in, I do have a video on that. I'll leave that video somewhere up here for you guys to check out. Really informative video, pretty simple. I still see a lot of people on forums asking how to sight in these crossbows, just because they are a little different in how the scope is set up. So main consensus of that is you don't sight it in as a traditional scope like on a rifle. But check out my video on how to sight in a Ravin crossbow. You get step-by-step instructions on how to do that. One thing I forgot to mention is that after shooting for about half a year, my speed did drop. Originally I had this scope set at 400 feet per second, and now it's sitting right between 375 and 400. That is because the strings have stretched, I guess, a little bit, but they're still within time. That's another thing that I was going to talk about here. Mine has not gone out of time yet, but on this cam here, there is 2 little dots that this cable runs through, and you want to make sure that your cable runs in between those 2 dots. You can have it run closer to the top dot, which is what I have, but if it falls below the second dot and out of the actual 2 holes there, you're going to want to go and get a new set of strings and cables. Going back to this scope, like I mentioned, it is pretty simple. It works. The only downfall I can see is that it's not so great in low light conditions. So if you're hunting early mornings or late evenings, it can be kind of tough to see your target. But it does have an illuminated reticle option on this side. Fit and finish on this has been phenomenal. If you guys are wondering what this is, that's just my signature. Why do I have that on there? Because my dad has an R26 as well. It is identical to this, so I just wanted something on here to be able to identify that it is my crossbow, because him and I, we hunt a lot together. Now let's go into some issues that I've heard on forums. I've seen this only once, actually, on my dad's crossbow. Just 2 weeks ago, his crossbow did blow up on him. I don't know what the reasoning on that was. I'm not sure if he kept an eye on his strings and cables, but basically what happened on his left string here gave out, and his left limb kind of exploded out, broke the limb pocket up here, and strings kind of went flying everywhere. But luckily Ravin stood behind the warranty and they fixed it for him free of charge. So what's my final thoughts on that Ravin R26 here? It's been super accurate, super fun to shoot. I wish I could shoot this more often, but like I said, this is not a toy. Just the way that it's built, and strings and cables, how much pressure this holds, pressure being how much poundage this holds at a given time. It's just not suitable for shooting every day, but I kind of wish I could. It's a fun little crossbow to shoot. So this crossbow has been great this year. I've harvested 1 buck and 3 does with this, and it has not caused me any issues, knock on wood. Now that doesn't mean that it's going to in the future, but so far everything has been great, and I'm going to continue to use this in the future. If you guys do have a Ravin R26, I'd like to hear what you guys' thoughts are in the comment section below. If it blew up on you, if you've had great success with it, etc., let me know. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way, when I upload videos, you guys will be notified. And until next time, be safe, everyone.